Traveling down a strange new road, brought here by carriages horse-drawn. Spirits rose, strangely lifted, the soft cadence of the service. Through my heart and soul they drifted.
There are silent hours just before dawn when I consider Torrizon. I am haunted by the knowledge that, though we each journey toward that vast and wondrous future where time ceases to be time, the weight of our choices follows us. I watched as the promise of Zacharias unraveled within my keeping, marked by my own reticence and Apollyon's choices, due to the way I, as keeper, failed in my duty. Alexandros's devotion, keeping the promise by taking the life of his own brother, and Ulysses's courage, standing firm despite pain and loss, exposed the weakness within me. I taught the promise, but neglected the conviction the subject demanded, nearly causing the destruction of Estolia. Peritasis, Capitulo 42.
Several people awaited their arrival. One wore a crown, another colourful robes. They both seemed important, and Angel flushed at the thought of such distinguished guests attending her mother's funeral. A feeling of freedom warred with shame inside her and serenity, now that their mother was out of their lives. Was it wrong to feel this way? She wasn't sure. The service was simple, yet quite moving. The man dressed in green, purple, and gold robes stepped forward to speak.
Deity taught us more than 2,700 years ago that many were the deities who influenced the lives of mankind. As Estolians, we believe our place on this planet and the influence of our deity requires significant sacrifice. But as a result, we are given innumerable blessings. As a people, we thank deity for the guidance we receive. Nearly all cultures, religions, and people have always been preoccupied with three basic questions. What is our purpose in being here on this earth? Where did we come from? What is our destination after this life? As Estolians, we are not immune to this curiosity. We understand the answers to those questions differently than those who follow the many other worthy faiths across the world. We know that deity promised to Zacharias that his progeny and posterity would enjoy great success, longevity, unrivaled love, extraordinary family relationships, and a whole host of additional blessings if we are able to live up to the simple promises he made to deity. In response to the question of our ultimate destination and the understandable anxiety about the life after this life, deity has given us the peace to know that we will have continuing awareness and that we will, moreover, be able to extend into eternity the loving relationships we develop on this planet. As simple people, we have found a deep level of contentment knowing there is that reassurance of continuation and the endurance of our love and family in Torrizon. We have discovered that the details do not matter. We have faith in what deity will give us. Our sorrow in losing our loved ones, like Willow Griggs here today, is deeply tempered by the knowledge that we will be reunited with them in Torrizon. We ask deity to touch the hearts, minds, and, most critically, the souls of Serenity and Angelica, Melody, and Misty, that they might be granted the gift of peace in the here and now, and the anticipation of reconciliation and understanding they might someday achieve with their birth mother in Torrizon. Guide Willow upon her pathway into that future world. Smooth the transition, that peace may permeate the lives of the four beautiful daughters of Gregorio and Wraith Zakarian. In the light and sight of deity, I speak these words.
For Angel, the words that the religious man spoke held profound weight. She felt as if, for her whole life, she would keep returning to those words, finding hidden meanings each time she read them anew. But the one thing she was suddenly sure of beyond everything else, was that they were where they were supposed to be, particularly Serenity. She already looked like she was moving on from the polished wooden box that would be buried in the ground. She looked at Gregorio standing next to her and then leaned against him. For Angel, it felt as if a massive weight was lifting off her shoulders. She was not going to be the only person who was there to look after her sisters. She could count on Gregorio and Wraith. Once the service was over, Angel and Serenity were introduced to the important people who had arrived for the funeral. The man in the religious robes was introduced as Uncle Zeke.
I am really a cousin, but it is simplest to call me Uncle,
he said with a grin.
This is my older brother. You may call him Uncle Isaiah.
Angel looked at the man introduced so casually as Uncle Isaiah and observed,
But Uncle Isaiah, you look like a king or something.
The two men looked at each other and burst out laughing, as if her simple observation was the most amusing thing they'd heard all day. Finally, Isaiah shared the joke.
I am sorry, beautiful Angelica, for laughing. As it is, I am the king of Estolia, but it would be a boring job if I took myself too seriously.
After the introductions, Isaiah and his wife Lilane offered to take Misty and Melody back to the palace for a nap. Wraith and Gregorio agreed, and the couple gently lifted the younger girls into their arms before stepping away. Now, in the quiet that followed, only a much older man with a narrow face and solemn eyes remained, standing beside his wife, whose damaged face was half hidden by an eye patch, her left arm ending just below the elbow.
Angel, this is your grandfather Theo and his wife, your new grandmother Georgiana,
Gregorio said. Angel greeted them, heart fluttering at the thought that she finally had grandparents.
I want to call Wraith and Gregorio Mom and Dad,
she said quietly.
but will that be disrespectful to my mother?
No, Angelica, it is not wrong.
Georgiana said. She smiled at Gregorio before gesturing to the two headstones nearest the fresh grave for Angel's mother.
In these two graves are Gregory and Bethany Zakarian. Bethany was one of my best friends. When she died in childbirth, my husband and I raised their son.
She pointed to Gregorio.
We raised him as our own flesh and blood.
Georgiana's jaw tightened, and for a moment her gaze dropped to the grass before she turned away.
On the same day that Gregorio's parents died, we also lost our newborn son,
Theo said.
To us, it was a miracle to have the chance to bestow the love on young Gregorio that we could not bestow upon our child, who was dead. He was encouraged to call me Dad and my wife Mom. His siblings think of him as their oldest brother, and he considers himself ours.
You do understand what we're feeling.
Angel said quietly. Gregorio nodded, his expression gentle.
I never knew my parents, but I have been incredibly blessed with the parents that deity gave to me. They are, to all intents, my parents. They consider me their firstborn.